My buddy sold his M1 Garand last month. He bought it for $800 12 years ago, sold it for $2,400. While his stock portfolio barely broke even, that rifle tripled his money. No fees, no management costs. Just sat in his safe and appreciated it. That's when it hit me. Some of us are sitting on small fortunes and don't even know it. The guns in your safe right now, some of them are making you money while you sleep. Others are dead weight that'll never be worth more than you paid. And here's what nobody talks about. The guns that are gaining value in 2026 aren't always the ones you'd expect. It's not about the newest, the tactical, or the most expensive. It's about understanding a market most gun owners ignore until they try to sell something and realize they either made a killing or got killed. So today, we're having the conversation that gun stores won't have with you. Which guns actually appreciate? Which ones are scams? And why your grandpa's old revolver might be worth more than your brand new AR. Hit subscribe, because what I'm about to show you will change how you look at every gun you own. Let's get into it. What makes guns appreciate? Here's what I learned from watching thousands of guns change hands at gun shows, estate sales, and auctions. Value isn't about what you paid. It's about what someone else will pay when you're ready to sell. And that depends on 6 things most gun owners completely ignore. First, scarcity beats popularity every time. A rare gun nobody wants beats a common gun everybody wants. Why? Because rare becomes collectible. Common becomes a commodity. Example, your basic Remington 870 shotgun. Reliable? Absolutely. Valuable? Not really. They made millions. But a Winchester Model 12 in the same condition? That's appreciating. Why? They stopped making them in 1964. Second, history beats features. A gun that saw service in Vietnam is worth more than a better shooting gun that never left a factory. Story beats specs every time. Third, the condition is brutal. Unfired in the box with papers, investment grade, carried daily with holster wear, still a great gun, but the appreciation potential just got cut in half. Fourth, political threats create permanent value floors. Every time politicians threaten bans, panic buying drives prices up, and those prices never come back down. Ever notice how AR-15S never returned to pre-Obama prices? That's why. Fifth, ammunition availability matters more than people think. A rifle in 30.06? That's forever. A rifle in some weird European caliber nobody imports anymore? That's a problem. And sixth, brand reputation is everything. A Colt holds value. A Taurus? Not so much. Fair or not, that's the market. Now let's look at real guns and real numbers. The guns your grandpa bought that are now worth a fortune. Walk into any gun show and you'll see gray-haired guys selling military surplus, and the prices shock younger shooters. $2,000 for an M1 Garand? I can buy a brand new AR for that. Yeah, and in 10 years, that AR will be worth $600 if you're lucky. That Garand? It'll be $3,500. Here's why military surplus rifles are the GOAT of gun investments. M1 Garand. I watched a guy at an estate sale find one in an attic last year, covered in dust. The owner died. Kids had no idea what it was. They sold it for $400 because they looked up old rifles and saw some going cheap online. That gun, CMP special grade with correct USGI stock, worth $3,000 minimum, maybe $4,000 to the right collector. The lesson, these guns have a floor that keeps rising. CMP inventory is drying up. Once they're gone, the private market is all that's left. And private market means investor prices, not government subsidy prices. If you see a Garand under $2,000 in decent shape, buy it. You're getting 2016 prices in 2026. Swiss K31. Here's the sleeper nobody saw coming. 5 years ago, these were $600 surplus rifles. Swiss accuracy, but nobody cared. Then imports stopped, and collectors realized these things are built like Swiss watches and shoot like precision instruments. Now, $1,200 to $1,500, and climbing, because they're gone. No more imports. Fixed supply, growing demand. Finish captured Mosin Nagants. Your standard Russian, 9130, still $300. But a finish capture with SA markings? Those were $400 5 years back. Today, try $900 to $1,200. Why? Because Finland actually cared about their rifles. They reworked them, improved them, made them better. Now, it's the difference between Soviet mass production and Finnish craftsmanship. Collectors know, and they're paying for it. The pattern: when supply stops and history matters, prices go one direction. The Revolvers. Everyone ignored until it was too late. $250 to $350. My dad bought a Smith Wesson Model 29 in 1998. Paid $650 for it. Pre-lock model, 6-inch barrel, barely fired. He carried it hunting maybe twice a year. Mostly it sat in the safe. Last month, someone offered him $1,800 for it. He laughed and said no, not because he uses it, but because he knows in 5 years it'll be worth $2,500. That's the revolver market right now, and most people are completely missing it. Here's what happened. Smith & Wesson added internal locks to their revolvers in 2001. Collectors hated it, called them Hillary holes because of political timing. Suddenly, every revolver made before the lock became more desirable. Every Model 29, Model 27, Model 19, Model 66 without that lock started climbing in value. And it's not just about the lock, it's about an era. Pre-2001 Smiths were the last of the old school manufacturing. Better everything. Now you've got guys paying $1,200 to $1,400 for revolvers that were $800 5 years ago, and they're not done climbing. Then there's the Python. Colt discontinued it. Huge mistake. Suddenly, every Colt Python in existence became collectible overnight. I remember seeing Pythons for $1,200 to $1,500 before the discontinuation. Thought, that's expensive for a revolver. Today, try $3,500 to $5,000 for the same gun. Colt brought it back in 2020. New production. And you know what? The new ones are fine, but they're not originals, and collectors know the difference. Original Python with the royal blue finish, made before 2005? That's what's appreciating. That's what everyone wants. Even Ruger got in on it. Those old 3-screw Blackhawks they made before 1973, before they added the transfer bar safety, those were $400 guns. Now they're $800 to $1,000. Why? Because they represent a simpler time, and they're never coming back. The lesson: when craftsmanship meets nostalgia, value follows. When governments ban imports, collectors get rich. There's a moment in every import ban where smart people get very wealthy, and average gun owners don't realize what happened until it's too late. 1994. China gets banned. Chinese SKS rifles flooding the market for $89. I'm not kidding, $89. With a spam can of ammo included. People bought them as truck guns, beater rifles. Who cares if it gets scratched? Then the ban hit. No more Chinese imports, ever. Those $89 rifles? They're $600 to $800 now. Some collector-grade examples with matching numbers and original Cosmoline? Over $1,000. The guys who bought 10 of them as cheap fun? They're sitting on $6,000 to $8,000 in appreciation. From guns they paid $890 for? 2014, Russia gets sanctioned. Saigo rifles were the affordable AK, $600 for a Russian-made AK variant. Decent quality, fun to shoot, nothing special. Sanctions hit. No more Russian firearms, ever. Those $600 Saigas, try $1,500 to $2,000 today. Viper rifles went from $800 to $2,500 plus. But here's the twist. At the time, nobody panic bought them. Everyone assumed sanctions were temporary. They'll work it out. Relations will improve. Wrong. Those prices are never coming back. And the people who bought Russian AKs in 2013 tripled their money without trying. The HK story is even crazier. 1989, HK91, HK93, HK94 stopped being imported. These were $1,200 to $1,500 rifles. Good guns, but not collector pieces. Just solid German engineering. Then imports stopped. Today, HK91 rifles are $4,000 to $6,000. Some pristine examples with accessories are hitting $8,000. That's a 400% to 500% increase from a rifle that was too expensive in 1989. The pattern is always the same. Import ban happens, everyone assumes it's temporary. Prices rise slowly at first, then they explode, then they never come back down. And the next ban, nobody knows when or what, but the principle doesn't change. When supply stops, value starts. The guns everyone says are too expensive. Here's a conversation I had last month. Guy at the range. Who spends $4,000 on a 1911? That's insane. Me. What about a Wilson Combat? Him. Still crazy money. Fast forward 3 years. That same guy will watch Wilson sell for $5,500 to someone who knows what they're buying. High-end 1911s don't depreciate. They appreciate it. And most people don't understand why until they try to find one used. Les Baer, Ed Brown, Nighthawk Custom, Wilson Combat. These aren't just guns. They're investments that happen to shoot. A $3,500 Wilson Combat doesn't lose value. It maintains or gains. Why? Because they're built to last 200 years. Because the craftsmanship is generational. Because the people who buy them keep them. German guns are the same story. HKP-7 pistols, discontinued in 2008. At the time, they were $1,200 pistols with a weird squeeze cocker system. Why would I pay that when Glocks are $500? Today, those P7s are $2,500 to $3,500. Because they're never making more. Because German engineering commands respect. Because scarcity beats logic every time. Limited production runs work the same way. Colt makes a commemorative SAA, limited to 500 units. Retail is $2,000. People say, too expensive for a cowboy gun. 10 years later, that same gun in unfired condition is $3,500 to $4,000. The lesson: quality doesn't depreciate, mass production does. What loses value? The reality check. Now let me save you from expensive mistakes. Turkish shotguns. I don't care what the reviews say. They don't appreciate it. Ever. They're tools. They work. But they're not investments. Buy one to shoot. Don't buy one expecting it to hold value. Budget AR-15S. That $400 Anderson lower with PSA parts? It'll shoot. It's reliable enough. But in 10 years, it's still worth $400. Maybe $300 if you're trying to sell fast. Compare that to a Colt or Daniel Defense. Those hold value. Budget builds don't. Most polymer guns. Glocks are the exception, not the rule. Most polymer frame guns depreciate like cars. The moment you fire them, they're worth less than you paid. Common stuff everyone has. Your standard Remington 870? Great shotgun. Terrible investment. They made millions. Supply is infinite. The painful truth most gun owners don't want to hear: not every gun is an investment. Most are tools that lose value the moment you buy them. But the ones that do appreciate, they make up for everything else. The smart play: what I'm buying right now. If someone handed me $5,000 today and said, buy guns that'll be worth $10,000 in 10 years, here's what I do. One M1 Garand, CMP service grade, about $1,100. In 10 years, that's $3,000 minimum, maybe $4,000 if supply really dries up. One pre-lock Smith Wesson revolver, model 19 or model 66. $1,000 today, $2,000 in 10 years. Easy money. One quality, 1911. Not custom, not budget. Something like a Springfield TRP or a Dan Wesson. $1,800 today. Holds that value minimum, likely gains to $2,500 plus. One Swiss K31. If you can find one under $1,500, buy it. These are headed to $2,500 within a decade. Fixed supply, growing collector interest. And one Oops gun, something current that might get banned or restricted. Maybe it's a braced pistol. Maybe it's standard capacity magazines. Maybe it's something nobody sees coming, because the best investment gains come from government stupidity. And there's always more of that coming. But here's what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't buy 10 budget ARs hoping they would be appreciated. I wouldn't buy Turkish imports. I wouldn't buy Taurus anything. Sorry, it's just market reality. Quality over quantity. Scarcity over popularity. History over hype. That's the formula. The guns in your safe, what they're really worth. Before we close, let's talk about what you already own. Pull up a gun value website. Look up your guns. But don't just look at current prices. Look at what they sold 5 years ago. Then 10 years ago. Which ones went up? Those are your winners. Keep them. Maybe buy more of them. Which ones stayed flat or went down? Those are your losers. Shoot them. Enjoy them. But don't expect them to fund your retirement. I'll give you an example from my own collection. My Glock 19 Gen 3. Bought it for $525 in 2012. Today, it's worth $525. Maybe $450 if I need to sell fast. It's a tool, not an investment. My Colt Python from 1982, inherited it. Didn't pay anything. But if I did buy it back then, it would have been $400 to $500. Today, $4,000 easy, maybe $5,000 to the right buyer. One gun appreciated 10 times. The other didn't move. Both are great guns. Both serve purposes, but only one is an investment. And here's the thing most people miss. You don't have to sell guns to benefit from appreciation. My dad's got a pre-lock Smith collection, 15 revolvers. Total value probably $20,000. He'll never sell them. But knowing they're appreciating makes owning them even better. It's generational wealth that happens to be fun at the range. That's the dream, isn't it? Guns that shoot great and make you money. the long game. If you take nothing else from this video, remember this: the best gun investments take time. You're not flipping these next month. You're holding for years, maybe decades. But when you do it right, you're building wealth while building a collection. Your kids inherit guns worth more than you paid. Your retirement fund sits in a safe instead of a brokerage account. And the beautiful part? You get to shoot them along the way. So buy smart, buy quality, buy scarcity, and buy history. If you got value from this, hit subscribe. We're going deeper on investment strategies, market trends, and the guns worth buying in 2026. And drop a comment with what you're holding that's gained value. I want to hear your wins. And remember, some guns are tools, some guns are toys, but some guns are assets. Know the difference, and your safe becomes a vault. We'll see you in the next one.